All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Navigate Exploring College and Careers. We'd like to start by introducing ourselves. My name is Alexis, and we have Malin with us as well. Before we get started, we wanted to go over some Zoom features. Your mic and video have been muted and turned off. You will be able to use the chat feature, which is located at the bottom of your screen. If you select the chat icon, a box should pop up over to the side. If you have any questions, we do ask that you type it into the chat, as we will have a question and answer period at the end of the presentation. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to go over some guidance factors to consider when exploring your future college and career endeavors. We will also look at some resources and tools available to you, such as the Occupational Outlook Handbook, as well as the Occupational Information Network. So let's begin. When exploring future college and career choices, consider the importance of human capital. Let's define the term human capital. It's the knowledge, talent, experience, and skills that people possess. So ways that you can invest in your human capital include pursuing post-secondary education and additional training and developing skills. Developing your capital increases your productivity and your marketability. There are several guidance factors to consider when thinking about future careers. Some of these include the following. Does this job match your skills and interests? Is this field experiencing growth, or is job availability declining? Are you prepared to complete the required education? And does the salary meet your expectations? This graph from the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics compares the median weekly earnings of full-time workers over the age of 25 with various levels of education. These education categories reflect only the highest level of educational attainment. They do not take into account completion of training programs in the form of apprenticeships and other on-the-job training, which may also influence earnings and unemployment rates. There's a higher link between higher education attainment and greater average earnings. In general, workers who have higher degrees make higher wages. This chart also displays the unemployment rate by level of educational attainment. Those with higher levels of educational attainment generally have lower level of unemployment. There are many options for education after high school. Three of the more common routes taken are vocational schools, community colleges, and universities. Vocational schools are often referred to as trade schools. They are geared towards students who are interested in learning a trade or skill like the culinary arts, carpentry, or plumbing, etc. Community colleges are primarily two-year degree seeking institutions, so associate's degrees, while universities are typically set up for bachelor's degrees and graduate degrees. Many universities also include medical and law schools in addition to the other graduate degrees. A great resource for career exploration is the Occupational Outlook Handbook. You can browse by occupation groups, selective searching by pay, education, and other factors. Or you can search for a specific occupation through the search bar. The Bureau of Labor Statistics provides information on duties performed, education required, the salary and pay, and the projected outlook for the job through 2029. If we were interested in an occupation in the education field, we could browse jobs in the education, training, and library occupation group right here. Within this group, there are many teaching positions listed, including librarianship. So on this page, we can see immediately a summary of the job, the entry-level education required, and the 2019 pay over here. So we'll use this as an example as to what you could expect to see on the Occupational Outlook Handbook. When you go further into these career choices, it provides you with a summary of the occupation, which provides more in-depth information about the job. If we look here, we can see that if we look here, we can see that a master's degree is typical of this position. However, it's important to note that the summary doesn't always reflect the more in-depth information that's provided in each of these links down here. So right here it says a master's and up here it says bachelor's. So it's important that you look at all the information provided in the summary, not just this table up here. So from the quick facts chart, we can see that the number of positions in 2019, right here, how many there are. And then we can also look at the expected growth rate through 2019 through 2029. And then we can see that the librarian occupation is expected to follow an average rate of increase. So it's actually growing. This would be a position that is growing. However, there are some occupations that might be experiencing a decline in popularity, need, or availability. In this case, we have the advertising sales agent that is experiencing a 6% decline, and it is expected to follow that employment change with a loss of 9,000 jobs between 2019 and 2029. So that is an example of a decline. However, there are also positions like veterinarians that are experiencing a much faster than average increase in job outlook between those 10 years. So in this case, we're seeing a 16% increase and a employment change of about 14,000 people between that decade. So it's important to look at the expected job outlook to know if the position you're interested in has a healthy market where you can find jobs. In this case, you'd be able to find a job in this field in veterinarian, but it might be more difficult to find one in advertising sales. So another link that's provided on the summary is going to be this state and area data, which is represented by this map here. Whenever you go to click on it, it maps out the information by state and metropolitan area, and this makes it easier to identify when where a position is growing the most and where the highest pay rates are. This can help to identify the job market in your area. So in this case, we can see here that librarians, the highest employment rates are going to be in New York, California, Texas, Illinois, and Pennsylvania, which is reflected by the different shades of green on this map. And they do this for each state or each occupation that they have listed on their website. The similar occupations link in the job field is going to show you that the different jobs or opportunities that are related to your initial search. So for librarians, similar occupations include teachers, archivists, and specialists. And these positions are typically within the same occupation group as the first occupation, in which case this would be education. And now I'm going to pass it over to Malin, who's going to give you a bit of information about Onnet, another resource that we use.
Thank you, Alexis. So as Alexis said, another resource that we use is Onnet, and it's similar to O. It's sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor, Employment, and Training Administration. Onnet allows you to browse for careers by several different categories, such as career clusters, or search for specific occupation through the search bar. The U.S. Department of Labor, Employment, and Training Administration provides a detailed report on information pertaining to the career, such as tasks, knowledge, and skills needed. When using Onnet, you can find occupations by career clusters, industry, job zone, bright outlook, job family, and STEM. Onnet groups occupations that are expected to grow rapidly in the next several years. They reference the search field as bright outlook. You can specify the search via rapid growth, numerous job openings, or search for all bright outlook occupations. The occupations retrieved doing a rapid growth search lists occupations that are projected to grow faster than average, so over 5% from 2019 to 2029. Here are some careers that are expected to grow rapidly within this decade. If you find a sun icon next to a career, that signifies it as a rapidly growing career. Onnet provides a summary report for the career chosen. The summary report gives brief information about the job, highlighting anywhere from 8 to 15 different categories, along with providing links to search for job openings and external sources. Here's an example of a summary report for software developers. So what does a software developer do? Well, the summary report provides a definition of the occupation along with sample reported job titles. Technology skills is a category that outlines what tools and software might be used in that career. There's a hot technology icon used to indicate that the technology is frequently included in employer job postings, such as map creation software. The details report elaborates on the specific categories. What you're going to want to keep your eye on when preparing for future careers is the technology used within that career. As you can see under the detail report for software developers, the technology skills needed and the technology used is quite extensive. Some careers have more information than others, providing more in-depth content such as task breakdowns, and this looks at whether a task is considered a core component of the job and at what percentage it is important. With regards to software development, Onnet is collecting more data, so that specific task breakdown with regards to percentage is not there yet. Another method of searching Onnet is to search for occupations using job zones. Job zones groups occupations into 5 categories based on levels of education, experience, and training necessary to perform the occupation. The 5 categories are little or no preparation needed, some preparation needed, medium preparation needed, considerable preparation needed, and extensive preparation needed. So another great resource that utilizes Onnet's informational database is mynextmove.org. This site allows you to search careers and industries in a more digestible way. I would say mynextmove is far more user-friendly and less intimidating than Onnet. When you conduct a search for a career, what's retrieved is a page of information that gives you the basics of what you need to know about that career. There's a career video that you can watch along with information on the education, knowledge, skills, abilities, personality traits, technology that's used, and job outlook for that career. Another great feature about mynextmove is their interest profiler. There are about 60 questions to assess whether or not your interests are realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, or conventional. And careers are recommended based on these categories. When thinking about careers, there are several options for experiencing the careers. So internships are great ways to gain experience and to expose you to opportunities in your chosen career field. So how do you find internships? Try networking. Talk with your family, teachers, and counselors to find internship opportunities. You can also check online resources such as internships.com and wayup.com. You can also visit company websites to identify employers interested in hiring an intern. Job shadowing is another opportunity to experience a career. Traditionally, you spend a day or a few days observing a professional on the job. Job shadowing will introduce you to the day-to-day operations of a career and help you decide if it's a good fit for you. Job shadowing will help you build a network with professionals, which can help you find a job or an internship down the road. So again, how do you find job shadowing opportunities? Try contacting the human resources department of a place where you would like to work. And this information can be found on a company's website. Another way you can experience a career is by interviewing someone who holds the job that you're interested in. This provides you with an opportunity to learn more about that career. Talk with your family, friends, teachers, and counselors to find interview opportunities. There are websites such as Careers Out There that have recorded interviews for you to watch. So if you're not able to interview someone, this is another option. These are all traditional options for experiencing careers. Keep in mind that while exploring your options, the current climate has shaped how these experiences will be had. There are now more virtual and remote internship opportunities as companies adapt to current circumstances. So seek out virtual opportunities as an alternative, and think outside the box and think creatively when pursuing such experiences. Navigating your future and exploring colleges can be an overwhelming process. Big Future College Board is a great resource to help you along the way. There are filters you can use when searching for schools, such as test scores, type of school, location, sports and activities, majors, diversity, and that's just to name a few. You can also compare colleges and explore majors and careers. So Big Future College Board also walks you through the process of how to pay for college. They provide you with information on financial aid, scholarships, understanding the cost of college, and some basic tools and calculators for estimating the cost of going to school. So that's another great resource that you might want to check out. So once you've decided on an occupation you'd want to pursue, or have identified even a couple of options, it's important to start building your skill and knowledge set to resemble what the position is looking for. At the Plano Public Library, we have resources to help you along the way, such as our unique spaces, technology, and online databases. If you're interested in expanding your digital creativity, check out our Tinkercad program that teaches you how to render basic 3D designs. If you're looking for online learning databases, Lynda is a great resource that houses thousands of courses that you could take. Some of the courses available focus on topics such as business, design, web development, and multimedia skills. The courses also cover software such as Microsoft Office, Adobe Creative Suite, and open source applications. While these databases are free, you do need a Plano Public Library card to access them, such as Lynda. Through the library, you can also learn a new language, which would make you more marketable when searching for a position. Pronunciator provides language learning in several different languages, such as Spanish, French, German, Italian, Mandarin, just to name a few. Tutor.com provides one-on-one help from a live tutor for students in math, science, English, history, and many other subjects. It also provides assistance with resume and cover letter writing. Learning Express Library also provides a resume builder along with information on colleges and practice exams for careers such as nursing. So make sure to check out the resources available to you through the Plano Public Library. So now that we've gone over some of the resources, we are going to jump into demonstrating the two main databases that we were talking about, websites, and that's O and Onnet. I'm going to hand it over to Alexis, who is going to demonstrate O, and then I will take over and demonstrate Onnet for you all.
Right, thank you, Malin. So we kind of went over this briefly when I was explaining what you could see using Occupational Outlook Handbook, but we're just going to give it a little bit more information so that when you are looking at this at home, you're able to take a more direct approach to your searching. So as we mentioned earlier, you can search on the Occupational Outlook Handbook using these occupation groups on the side, and they range from architecture and engineering to transportation and material moving. And they kind of try to group like occupations together. So you see things like education, farming, healthcare, and they're going to have occupations of a variety of levels just consolidated into one specialty. So if we wanted to take a closer look at one of these, we could do that. And we'll go ahead and dive into the farming, fishing, and forestry occupations. And we can look here and just see what they have in that occupation group. So we'll see different occupation titles here, and then we'll see a basic job summary. So with architecture or agricultural workers, we see that they maintain crops and tend to livestock. And then it kind of gives you a basic idea of what level of education would be required. Some will say that there's no formal education required, whereas others will show that you'll need a high school diploma or the equivalent. But then some will also show that you need that to see how you would become one. And in this case, they will give you a little bit more background information about the important qualities that you would need. In this case, dexterity, listening skills, physical stamina, physical strength, and mechanical skills. And here you might even need some different classed driver's licenses in order to operate that more complex farm machinery. In this case, you can also see here that most agricultural workers don't need a high school diploma. However, depending on the exact field that you're getting into with agricultural work, you might need a diploma or higher post-secondary education for working with animals or handling some of the more in-depth finances of a farm. And then oftentimes workers will receive a short on the job training. So that could be as simple as using simple farm tools, or as I mentioned before, operating that more complex machinery. So that's an example of one that might require you to investigate a little bit further into how you would become one. And then in this case, you can see here that we have the median pay here, but for some that are constantly in fluctuation, such as the fishing and hunting jobs, they don't always have this annual wage available. So that's just something that's important to look at when you're going through the occupational handbook. And in addition to searching through occupation groups, you can also search up here in the search bar In this case, we can look up what is expected, for a lawyer. And they would give you access to these links here. So even though there's a variety of different types of lawyers, they'll give you that median pay range between the different jobs in that field, as well as the typical entry-level education. In this case, it would be a doctoral or a professional degree. And you can see here that there is that increase in job availability expected between 2019 and 2029. And then you can also see here in a typical work environment, lawyers typically work mostly in offices. However, some travel might be expected and things like that. They also let you know that you might face heavy pressure during work, depending if you have a case or a trial or you need to meet deadlines. So this does try to give you an idea of what to expect in a job, and you can delve deeper into that if you are interested as well. So that's a little bit more information on using the Occupational Outlook Handbook. And if you guys have any questions, we'll have that question and answer period after Melinda demos the Onnet. And I'll go ahead and switch over to that one so she can give you a little bit more in-depth information on that as well.
Thank you, Alexis. So when you go to onnetonline.org, this is what the landing page will look like. In the top right-hand corner, you're able to search the occupation using their quick search bar. So if you have an occupation that you're interested in, you can search that way, or you can go to find occupations and search using their different categories. So let's go ahead and search using Bright Outlook just to give you an idea of what that looks like. So again, you have the rapid growth. If you click on that, the bar that says rapid growth, it'll drop down and show you other ways of searching for Bright Outlook. Let's go ahead and search all Bright Outlook occupations to get an idea of how many occupations there are that are expected to grow 5% or more from 2019 to 2029. And you can scroll all the way down. There are quite a few occupations that are expected to grow. Why don't we go ahead and look at what commercial pilots are? Let's delve into commercial pilots. So this automatically pulls up the summary report and just gives you some brief information on what a commercial pilot, like what tasks are important, what technologies used, the knowledge, and you'll see several other categories that you can quickly glimpse at. If you select, what's nice about this summary report, there are links as well to external sites, such as if you're looking for job opportunities, it will link to sites where you can find job postings. You can also find sites such as what certifications needed and all of that. So it's nice in that it gives you what you need in one space, essentially. If we scroll up to the top and click on detailed or details, that'll pull up a detailed report. And this is where you're going to find all of that task percentage breakdown, as I had mentioned earlier in the presentation. So it'll show you what tasks are important and if it's categorized as important and what percentage of breakdown. And then it also shows you like the different technology as mentioned before. So we can see that use instrumentation to pilot aircraft when visibility is poor is obviously a core component with a 95% importance rate. So that's nice. It breaks down the different tasks via importance and category. Another way of searching Onnet is through the different job zones. So you can do that if you scroll up to the top and you click on Find Occupations, you can go down to Job Zone, and this is where it'll show you the different occupations grouped by the level of education, experience, and training that's needed. So if you're looking for something immediately where it's little or no preparation needed, you can specify that and search and see what comes up. What's great about Onnet is there's a lot of information available to you to help you determine what career you are interested in. If you're still trying to figure out your interests, you can search My Next Move, or you can go to My Next Move. And the way you access that is if you go to Onnet online, if you click back to the home page, and that far, well, it's not up top, but if you click on I want to be a, and then it links to My Next Move. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the external page, or excuse me, to a different page and a different site altogether, I should say. And to access that interest profiler, you'll find that at the top, in the top right-hand corner under interests, and that'll pull up that interest profiler that'll kind of ask you some fun questions, and you can rate them on whether or not it's something that interests you or not. And it'll, yeah, it's fun. There's about 60 questions, as mentioned earlier, and it'll just give you an idea of what you might be better suited for. So hopefully we've demonstrated how you can use O and Onnet. With that being said, PPL is one of the resources, again, available to you. We are here to help you invest in your human capital. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to attend our virtual program on navigating your future, exploring college and careers. You can find many resources on our website, planolibrary.org, as well as our blog, planolibrarylearns.org. So with that being said, we'd like to open it up to a Q&A. Are there any questions? If there are no questions at this time, that is okay. If you do think of something, you can always book a librarian if you need some assistance with any sort of database or anything like that. Feel free to book a librarian and you can get that 30-minute one-on-one assistance virtually. And a recording of this presentation will be sent out in a couple of business days. So be on the lookout for that. If there's any information that that you missed or didn't jot down, that is okay. So once again, thank you so much for attending our virtual program, and we hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.